the Retro Pop Show. I'm Omar.
And I'm Par.
And
Howdy, y'all.
this week, we're doing the Kasem Top 40 for the week ending February 15th, 1986. 1986, a great year. Gosh, freshman year going into sophomore year of high school.
Yes. And sophomore year of mine going into, towards junior year.
All right. So without any further ado, why don't we get to the number 10? Par, over to you.
Number 10, we have the Latin flavor of Miami, Gloria Estefan and Miami Sound Machine with Conga.
Yes.
At one point, I had thought that might be my least favorite Miami Sound Machine / Gloria Estefan song, but I think that title goes to the Sesame Street special. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, baby, say you love me 5, 6, 7 times.
Never say that song. Oh gosh, that just irks me to no end. But please continue though.
But Conga, I mean, this was really their kind of introduction, I think, to the American pop scene, the English version of the band. Which I've had many Latin people just tell me how much better their Spanish stuff is. It always sounds maybe a little goofy to them, kind of like hearing a Bollywood song with English lyrics. I think it always sounds odd, so it probably sounds that way to them. But definitely a kind of a new flavor for the top 40 in the mid 80s, and so it was definitely novel.
Yeah. This brought in the whole. I think it was the first prominent song that brought in that Miami Cuban influenced, musical influence into the scene, and it exploded. I mean, where I was growing up in Hawaii, this was huge. I mean, it was everywhere. Brought in the the electric piano, the thing that's sort of synonymous with the kind of Latin music from Cuba, especially. I have to admit, I did love this song when it came out. I did. It was because it was so different.
Because you were you had the Latin, you had the island flavor. You're more easygoing.
We were closer to the equator.
Uptight mainlander.
We were closer to the equator. We were on the same kind of
latitude
as Cuba, so are similar. Yeah, maybe that's it. Now over time, this got played out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Not as much as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I just that's an immediate knob mover on the dial on the radio.
Knob mover, I like that.
Knobs anymore, but yeah, the beat. I mean, Gloria Estefan, who I guess was already a legend in the local scene, but this was her superstardom, leap.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the artist that it sort of paved the way for. I don't know if this was considered in that genre, but it led to the beginning of what they call the Latin freestyle movement, which bands like Expose and Lisa and Cult Jam and things like that. Stevie B, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which I was really into that music too. The Cover Girls.
I really liked Expose for sure.
Yeah, Expose was it was a whole genre. It was kind of that kind of late 80s, like my latter years in high school. Yeah, it was really big, and especially big, like in where I grew up. It was huge.
All these years, I didn't know like the full term was Latin freestyle. I had just heard people refer to these bands as freestyle. Yeah. And so I was just like, okay, freestyle just means like dance music, Yeah. But then it was a little more connected once I heard the full term, and it made sense why they were all kind of lumped together.
Right. But yeah, really, really big. And we're talking about influence. There was a prominent artist who I like, who came out in the early 90s, originally from, I guess he was part of the Machine, in the Sound Machine. You remember John Cicada?
Oh, John Cicada. I thought you were perhaps going to talk about him. Yeah, I liked his stuff.
By the way, maybe that's past the 80s thing, but Just Another Day by him, one of my favorite songs.
Oh, he was very prolific in that early 90s period. I like just about everything he put out.
Yeah. But he managed to break free from the Machine temporarily.
I didn't know he was a ghost in the Machine.
He was. Yeah, he was part of the Gloria Estefan coaching tree, I guess, so
Right.
so so yeah, but great song, another definitive. I wouldn't put it as one of the iconic songs of the 80s, but it was,
Yeah,
definitely it was a genre buster. So,
yeah, definitely.
all right,
We can all agree. We can all agree on that.
we can all agree. If it's on, I'm definitely keeping it on, and I'm guilty pleasure in the car. I'm singing it. I'm singing it. Okay, shall we go on to number
All
9?
right. Yeah, number 9.
Number
What do we have at number 9, Omar?
number 9 is a group that we've had before, and one of their songs that I'll admit up front, not one of my favorites, but let's just go ahead. Starship with Sarah. So so a couple of things. First of all, underrated use of the harmonica in the beginning, which will be a bit of a theme this week.
I didn't recall that.
Yeah,
on that
a little
song.
bit. Mickey Joseph on Mickey Thomas. What's his name?
I think it's Thomas. Yeah,
Mickey Thomas.
yeah.
I mean, phenomenal, very underrated singer, vocalist, incredible pipes.
Yeah.
It's a nice song. It's a good ballad, but it lulls me to sleep. It's kind of a lullaby theme for me.
It's definitely an easy 99.9, special elevator music, Muzak kind of a very mellow song, which is surprising coming after their polarizing first release from Knee Deep in the Hoopla, We Built This City. So this was far less polarizing, but perhaps a bit sedating.
Yeah, this is really, if I'm in the dentist chair and they're giving me some anesthesia or something, if you put on Sarah, I'll go out like in a light in half the time.
You're calling this auditory Novocaine?
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that liberally. Yeah, it's a good song. And I went back a short while ago, rewatched the video, and I had forgotten this. I don't know if you remember. What relatively famous actress is featured prominently in this video?
Oh, I don't remember the video at all.
Oh, and I didn't remember. I remember
Sarah Connor.
It's not Sarah. It is an actress who had her moments in the kind of late 80s, early 90s, Rebecca De Mornay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Was she ever romantically involved with Mickey Thomas or any of the, I don't know how that came about.
Yeah, I don't know. She could have just been an item girl, I guess, as they would say in Bollywood.
Yeah, but I guess rather than just going with just say some, lower tier actress or model, I guess they went with someone who was already, I think she was kind of known already at the time, by this time in 86. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't have much to say other than it definitely, it is easy listening, adult contemporary. But yeah. Auditory Novocaine. I'm going to use that. Okay.
Use it at the next, really boring work meeting, with your boss.
Yes.
And call him that.
All right. Shall we move on for this?
Yes. Let's move on to number 8. The Sweetest of Taboos, The Sweetest Taboo by Sade. British, originally Nigerian, I believe. But yeah, I really like this song. I joke every once in a while that Sade literally started the entire radio genre of smooth jazz. Like it could just be called the Sade channel, with a little bit of Kenny G mixed in, I guess. But every channel that's the quiet storm, it really is echoing Sade. Right. And so, yeah, the Sweetest Taboo was a little peppier maybe than even some of our other songs.
Yeah.
But a nice drum beat and very uplifting.
So Sade has just an inimitable style. By the way, I just wanted to use the word inimitable in this case.
That is definitely, you were in SAT prep mode around that time.
Thank you. But there's no one has ever sounded like before or since. She just occupies this unique space. And it's just her voice. It's not that I wouldn't say she has like a dynamic vocal range, but where she is just mapped, it matches perfectly to the rhythm and the mood of the song. Every one of her songs. And this one, yeah, it's kind of a little bit bouncy. It's kind of one of these kind of songs. Yes. My kids will cringe hard when they see that, by the way. But any of her songs, they're all listenable. I don't feel even now that they're as played as they were. They're not played out because they're so. Even though they should put me to sleep, they're so good they don't put me to sleep.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I can't think of a clunker in any of her releases.
Yeah, and I'll say I'd put this up. I'd say my favorite of hers is "No Ordinary Love." Off the soundtrack to
the Indecent Proposal.
Yes. But although with inflation, I think, just digress for a second, the $1 million, if they made that movie today, what do you think the amount would be?
I think you got to go like 10. I think you have to go another decimal place.
Just simple inflation, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just cost of living, increase.
But yeah,
cost of living large, I should say.
Right. The Sweetest Taboo. Yeah, I don't know. Like Sade, here's another thing about her songs. It's hard to do a cover of her songs. It just wouldn't sound like anyone else.
You'd be doing a lampoon. You'd be Weird Al Yankovic trying to reproduce it. Right. It would come out wrong.
But much respect to Sade, who's still going strong. She's still she's out there. Yeah.
Oh, I would love to go see her.
Yeah. But so that is number 8. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Oh.
Now, which living legend, or maybe not living anymore, do we have at number 7?
We have the one and only, the godfather of soul brother number 1, the godfather of funk, I think he's, but the icon, James Brown, with one of my favorite songs, a defining song from the 80s, from Rocky IV, which will be another recurring theme this week.
Oh, right.
Living in America. Dun, 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 down. It's almost a perfect song at the perfect time. And especially when the video and when it was introduced in the movie, with Apollo Creed coming out there with the Star Spangled Banner hat
and the Uncle Sam hat.
And James Brown was already an icon well before this, right? That was back in the 60s, 70s. But this one, I think, in a way, kind of reintroduced him to another generation.
Yeah.
And
us.
Yes.
I was not familiar with him at all, despite having been a kid in the 70s.
And the thing about James Brown is, you look back, especially that era, like hip hop that was going on and would still go on. I mean, half of the breaks on records were James Brown samples, right?
Really?
Yeah. Well, he's probably still, him and his track, the most sampled artist of all time, just because
I didn't know that
funkitude of his music. But Living in America, I mean,
another SAT word there.
Yes, but this one gets the adrenaline going. I mean, this one, I don't care.
Yeah.
This puts me in a great mood. I feel like getting out there and sparring or doing something out there. But what does this song do for you, Par?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, it's images of Rocky IV, but it's just invigorating. I mean, you end up just rattling off those city names: New York City, Kansas City,
Detroit City,
Dallas, Pittsburgh, PA,
New York City, Kansas City,
Atlanta. Woo, Atlanta. Chicago.
What's between Atlanta and LA?
Atlanta. Woo, Atlanta. Chicago and
Chicago and LA.
Chicago.
Yeah. and you gotta love the call and response. He says the cities, and then like the background. I love it. And I'm sure when he's in concert and he's in Kansas City, when he's in Kansas City,
Oh,
they just go crazy. Yeah.
oh, just a unique classic.
How can you not? This smile will never stop bringing a smile to my face.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. And he starts up super highways, coast to coast. Easy to get. Anyway, so basically, he starts off, it's a song about infrastructure.
Right.
He's
And
talking about that.
urban development.
Right. So I just
It's a HUD anthem.
everything about the song is great. Okay, I have a feeling we could just go on for the rest of our time talking about this,
Oh,
but
that's a whole episode unto itself. Yeah.
but that was number 7. So that brings us to number 6. What we got at number 6?
Number 6, we have the duo of Wham with "I'm Your Man." Kind of a swingy number.
Yeah.
Very kind of almost in that "Wake Me Up Before You Go" kind of a vein, where it's just very upbeat and dancey and bouncy.
Right.
Very
Bouncy.
and not careless whispery, the opposite of that. So just a very, very spring in your step kind of a song.
Very bouncy is the best word for it. And the thing about this song is the most memorable part to me is that little the kind of chorus part, the part where it goes, if you're gonna do it right,
Do it with
if you're
me.
gonna do. That's really the only
Yeah.
thing that I remember about the song. But the overall kind of sort of, baby, I'm your man, baby. But yeah, if you're gonna do it right, do it with me. That's what sticks out.
I wonder if this was one of their last songs together, or
Yeah.
at least towards the very end, because I think it was probably the very next year, '87, that George Michael released Faith
Okay.
with all of those songs.
I
So
thought you
it
were going
was
to
at
say
least
that was the last album before Andrew Ridgeley just, took off like
just
a
said
rocket
peace
himself.
out.
Because
Yeah,
George Michael
before
was just keeping him down. He was shackled.
he was holding him back.
Yes. But yeah, it's a good song. I mean, I was
Good.
listening to it again recently. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. But
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, mid-range for them.
Yeah, right. Do we have some opposition from the crowd? Do we have a strong Wham supporter there?
Yeah, I think they wanted us to rank it a bit higher. So I said, no, we have high standards, and we have mad respect for their other works to not artificially, prop this one up.
There's no question about it. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it's again, as an artist or duo, then we had the conversation about greatest duos, but Wham does probably rank up there, although George Michael so overshadowed Andrew
Yeah.
that
And they were a bit short-lived. I mean, they literally were only together 2 to 3 years, to compare with like Hall and Oates, who were like a decade and a half, or I don't know, the Isley Brothers or any of these sorts. But yeah, definitely were their stars were shining brightly in the mid '80s for sure.
Definitely. All right, shall we move on?
Yeah, we're getting to the top 5, and the first one was just a super group, the Dream Team, the original Dream Team, Dion and Friends, with "That's What Friends Are For."
Yeah, the super friends here.
Yeah, the Hall of Justice was
Wow.
represented. I mean, if I can even think of who was in it, it was Dionne Warwick and Elton John and Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. There's a fourth one. Female.
Who was the fourth one?
Well, someone who should figure prominently with your Atlanta roots in Georgia, known for her song
Georgia?
about a certain train.
Oh, Gladys Knight. She was.
Yeah.
Wow, really? That never registered. At least it didn't last with me over time. That Gladys Knight, minus the Pips, was one of the friends.
She actually batted cleanup in the song.
Oh.
Yeah. She
Wow.
went
Okay.
too. Yeah. Um, this is a beautiful song. I mean, I can't be
Yeah.
cynical about this. It just it did get played a lot, but it just iconic, singers, and everyone does a great job. I mean, Elton John on this track is just really good. And Stevie Wonder, again, this is another one of those songs, second one this week on our countdown, that features the harmonica pretty prominently in the beginning.
Ah, yes. Just a forgotten instrument.
Stevie's harmonica. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, everyone does their part. It's just a nice, it's a really good song. It's one of those it's a song that has its place in countless soundtracks. I'm sure in any slideshows of like reunions or graduations or anything, summer camp, when they do like a montage, this would be one of those go-to songs that they'll play as they're doing the slideshow.
Yeah, it's just very touching.
Before Green Day's Time of Your Life, that is. Then ever since then, it's just been they've dominated.
That took over for the next era.
Yes, yes. But yeah, everyone does it. So it starts with Dionne. So I'm assuming this was off a Dionne Warwick album, and just her magnetic pull, her gravitas just brought in. I mean, this could stand on something. If you look at like We Are the World and Band-Aid, just these four alone, to kind of a lot of crossover. But still, I mean, it's a lot of heavy hitters.
A lot of atomic mass just in those four elements right there. Yeah.
And I knew Dionne Warwick right back in like the 70s, or I was aware of her. She had, Do You Know the Way to San Jose, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I never.
Deja Vu was a late 70s soft rock favorite.
But I never considered her at the level of stardom as the others there. Then, of course, for people in our generation, the other thing we know Dionne Warwick for was Solid Gold.
Oh, sorry. Well, I thought you were going to say being the auntie of Whitney Houston. That.
So there's that. Well, no, let's count all the ways. So and you're right. You reminded me of that. But Solid Gold before Marilyn McCoo.
Dionne Warwick was the main person on it.
It was Dionne Warwick, and then Marilyn McCoo came later.
I remember Marilyn McCoo. Yeah, I didn't realize
Marilyn
that.
McCoo and the legendary Rex Smith.
Got to be a stage name.
And what was the guy, the puppeteer with Madam? Was it Waylon? Not Waylon Jennings. Waylon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, all right. I don't remember his last name.
Madam really cracked me up. That whole Solid Gold was just, it was the best. It was
Solid Gold was great.
Yeah.
There was no MTV, there was no YouTube. I mean, that's we didn't have Top of the Pops like England had, so we had Solid Gold.
But I think
the Solid Gold dancers.
Yes, that was a bit risque back in the day. But well, it was they had men and women. So it was like it was the world famous Solid Gold dancers.
Yeah, right.
But I guess what I was getting at was Dionne. I never associated her with that level of a pop star, but apparently among her peers, she was that highly regarded. Just had friends. And then she had this period where she just fell off. And then her claim to fame back in the 90s was the Psychic Friends Network.
Oh, right. She sought friends that were not of this earth.
Yeah. I mean, it was like one of those things. Oh, you feel really bad. Late night television, and there's Dionne Warwick and her Psychic Friends Network. But she's made a recent online comeback. Apparently, her Twitter, as the kids would say this game, her Twitter, she's just come on Twitter, and her Twitter game is strong.
Really?
Yes.
Nana Dion is tweeting.
Maybe she's got a really good social media team. I don't know, but apparently, she's gotten a lot of positive reaction. It's put it this way: it's a lot better than Magic Johnson's Twitter. You ever watch Magic Johnson's Twitter feed?
No, but I Magic is like the greatest guy, but I imagine it would put me to sleep.
No, so Magic Johnson's Twitter feed for the longest time was just him giving the outcome of recent games and prominent stats. And then the comment section are all people, gee, thanks, Madge. Thanks for breaking the news. Didn't know that. It's like he didn't understand what Twitter is about, and it was just fodder for just, sarcastic comments.
It sounds a lot like the the Magic
The
Johnson
magic hour,
late
the
night
magic
talk
hour.
show, the Magic Hour.
Okay, how do we get from Dionne Warwick, the honorable,
Johnson.
venerable Dionne Warwick, to this? That's my fault. Okay.
Yeah, and they're both honorable people, and we've disgraced them.
And we've just glossed over that. I mean, like Stevie Wonder's incredible in this. Gladys Knight.
Oh yeah.
The order is Dionne, and then Elton John, that versatile number 2 hole, because he can use good bat control.
Good.
No, I'm sorry.
Guy.
No, Stevie Wonder is number 2.
Okay.
Then, no, and then Elton, and then Gladys Knight at the end with the real power. So
yeah. She goes yard.
Yeah. All right. Well, that who's doing number? I forget it. Is it? Am I introing number 4?
I think.
Is that you?
I think it's me then. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I did Wham. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the follow-up hit for Mr. Kyrie. I mean, you would have thought Broken Wings would have been very hard to even approach, and yet they came back with a second blockbuster in Kyrie eleison.
Down the road that I must travel.
Yeah. No, I mean, a couple of powerhouse songs. It makes you wonder why they didn't necessarily last a whole lot longer than that with two big hits right off the bat. But Kyrie stands on its own, even being in the shadow of Broken Wings.
Yeah. Awesome song. Just awesome song. Very larger than life, almost, soundtrack, operatic. I mean, yeah, it's definitely memorable. I mean, you don't often hear, it's Latin, right? Kyrie,
I think Greek? So. I think it's Latin, and I don't at all remember what it means.
Okay, so actually, what it means is it is Greek for
Greek.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, okay.
And is used in prayer for both the Roman Catholic and Greek Orthodox denominations. So we're done eating almost. We're having Perry. So great song, very, very unique. You don't often hear Greek in pop songs, and I think everyone would ask, wait, what does that mean? But just it almost inspirational. It's kind of like a prayer,
Yeah. Oh, it really is. I mean, just a great combination of voice and musicianship. It's just, you don't always get that together, and then when the songwriting just blends the two, these are deserved top 5 smashes.
No question. And now, what did Mr. do? I mean, obviously Broken Wings was their breakout and was phenomenal, and this one was a second. I'm trying to think of other well-known songs of theirs.
So there was a third single from this album, Is This Love, I believe was the name, and it got a good amount of radio play. It was kind of getting into the kind of the spring of 1986.
Was that the one?
Is this love we're after?
Yeah, okay. That was them. Okay.
And then there was a follow-up album in 87 that had like a lightly played lead single, and then poof, that was it.
And they would only be, it was decades later in the early 2000s that Train's Hey Soul Sister kind of brought them back into the consciousness with this, and Ain't That Mr. on the radio.
Oh, right. It was an homage.
Yes. So great song. Much respect to Mr. I don't know like where they are now, if they're broken up, if they're retired, or what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because during their peak, Richard Page, the lead singer, he had numerous offers to join other bands. because he had been a sessions guy for years, so everyone kind of knew him. But then he broke out, and then certain bands who were in between lead singers or what have you, or had some sort of breakup.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he was sought after, but he said, no, I'm doing my own thing. I've got my my startup. I'd like to work on my startup, and
Right.
and it did well for a while, but ultimately ran its course.
Wow. Well, anyway, that's good. So now we have just the top 3 left to do, and we will do that right on the other side. Okay, so we're up to number 3 on Casey Kasem's top 40 for this week of ending February 15th of 1986. Coming in at number 3.
By the way, this is right around the time of the space shuttle explosion. I believe was in February of 1986.
Was it
somewhere?
February?
I don't remember the date.
I mean, I remember Challenger was 86. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and Rocky IV was big in the box office at this time, and another one of their songs came up earlier, Living in America, which we talked about. But at number 3, from the same Rocky IV, we have Survivor with Burning Heart. And when I hear this song, I just think of Rocky out in the Siberian wilderness training, flipping tires and chopping wood and
climbing mountains.
Yeah. And like pulling sleds and great workout song.
Yeah.
Great, just it's underdog battling, it in the darkest night, rising like a spire, like a burning heart, the unmistakable fire. I mean, oh, beautiful poetry.
Oh yeah, poetry, but yet invigorating, right? Like you said,
in the warrior's code, there's no surrender. Don't. Yeah, come on.
And this is all with their second lead singer, right? They had their original lead singer, I just call him like beret guy.
Yes.
Who sang "Eye of the Tiger," but then I forget what the reason was, but they had a parting of ways, and beginning in '84 with a string of singles of hits in '84, and then culminating with this movie classic.
Yeah, no, I mean, they just it's hard to think of a band that's more synonymous with a movie franchise. I mean, it's like Peter Cetera and Karate Kid movies. I just sort of associate the two, but
right.
But Survivor and Rocky. Yeah.
And do you know the story of what song Sylvester Stallone originally wanted for Rocky III that was not "Eye of the Tiger"? Because Survivor was this nothing band from Chicago.
Yeah.
He wanted Another One Bites the Dust by Queen, and they couldn't agree to terms or what have you. I don't know. It didn't happen. Yeah. And so he went with these guys were like a friend of a friend or something like that. Again, a very lightly accomplished band from Chicago, and they gave them this prime spot on a in a sequel, and it just took off.
Now, did Survivor write "Eye of the Tiger" specifically for the movie, or did they just say hey, did they hear the song and say we want to use that, or did they say, hey, we're going to make a movie, come up with a song that fits?
I don't know for sure. I would assume they wrote the song with the movie in mind, or at least, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, Burning Heart, to me, it's hard to. It would have been easy for them to just come up short with the Eye of the Tiger expectation, another Rocky movie, but this one really did it for me.
It's still another powerful song.
To me, I think it's better, like I said, than Eye of the Tiger for all those reasons. And
high praise indeed.
Yeah. So anyway, great song. So what do we have next if we're done with that?
Yeah. Now we're down to number 2, by an artist that I truly love, but perhaps maybe my least favorite song by him, Billy Ocean, When the Going Gets Tough. the tough get going. For me, it is a tough choice between this one and Get Out of My Dreams and Into My Car. I think those are the two
Right.
at the bottom of my list. But I can't hate on Billy too much because he's such a great guy.
You know, Billy's one of my favorites. I've got a soft spot for
Yeah,
Billy.
I like Billy.
This one now, speaking of artists and franchises, I didn't even think of this, but you know, the whole Romancing the Stone franchise and
Right.
the Ocean were kind of together. This one was, I don't know which, it was in one of the songs in the franchise. It was not.
How many were there? Were there 3 of those movies?
I think there were 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember Eddie Grant had the Romancing the Stone title track.
You're right.
Yeah, I forget the sequence of those 3 movies. I don't think I saw any of them.
I don't think I did either. I mean, I knew they were around. I just
Yeah.
no. I like Michael Douglas, but yeah.
Yeah. He was
Kathleen
doing all
Turner
those
and Danny
movies,
DeVito, right?
right? He was doing those movies with her, like War of the Roses and
Right.
things like that. So there was just this whole era of Michael and Miss Husky voice.
Right. Yeah, but when the going gets tough, yeah, it was just really good. I mean, Billy Ocean's vocals are just so nice. I think he's just as a pure singer, he's just really good.
Yeah, fabulous voice.
Yeah,
and diverse. He can do, kind of sort of fun songs like this, and then do a romantic ballad, and you take both of them, seriously.
Like there'll be love songs to make you cry.
Yeah, he can make.
There'll be sad songs to make you cry.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, no, good, great song. Again, I just seeing the video and the whole, the Romancing the Stone movie franchise and all that. I think there were 3 movies, but anyway.
Seems right.
Yeah. So anything more we want to say about this one?
No, I think he was stymied by a relative of another member of this top 10 that we already talked about, an up and comer.
That's
so
right.
You can't blame him for being stopped at number 2 when you see who number 1 is.
And number 1, of course, is the remarkable, incredible, talented, and sadly the late Whitney Houston with "How Will I Know." Another one of her huge hits of the time. Very playful song, very upbeat, happy, innocent.
Yeah.
Just a great pop song from one of the defining artists, certainly from the mid 80s to mid 90s. She was just kind of in a league of her own.
Yeah. I mean, to be the elite singer that she was, and then to go on to be a pretty accomplished actress, and model looks along the way, she had it all.
Yeah. Bodyguard came out, what, 91 or something?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And was that her first real acting?
Oh, could be, yeah. I don't recall any others before that.
But I mean, probably I think most people would say is just as far as the best singers, pop singers of all time, pure vocal talent,
pure voice.
Whitney's probably number 1.
Yeah, exactly. I think later on, maybe Mariah gave her a run for her money, that
Mariah's
kind of thing.
Mariah's up there.
But she's in that, elite.
Yeah.
Elite core.
Yeah. I would put, in terms of like female vocal talents, I would put the often underrated Linda Ronstadt up there.
Oh.
And Karen Carpenter too. Those 2, I can't think of the 2 yet. But yeah, vocally just
diverse.
Yeah. But
no, I really like Linda Ronstadt. She has a wide range of song styles. You're right. Her voice is very versatile.
Yeah. But I'm not sure how much there is I can say about How Will I Know, other than it's not, it's not at the top of my list of Whitney Houston song. It's just
that's probably overplayed.
Yes. But I think this was probably her at, you know, image wise, this was like her just, you know, playful, innocent, wholesome, beautiful, everything. She was at the very top of her game, and she was still, I think this would be still in her early prime, I think, you know.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
hadn't
she
yet
was
even
still
yet peaked.
ascending.
Yeah, she was still, her star was still in the ascent, but great, incredible singer, incredible talent. And, you know, this is a song that I'll probably still, you know, won't change the dial for. I'll
Yeah.
still keep on, but
Yeah, it's happy song.
Takes us through the top 10. So I think I like this week's list. Really strong.
Yeah.
Underrated use of the harmonica. The harmonica made a little mini comeback this week.
Yeah.
Rocky
See,
IV.
Rocky IV still exerting its presence.
Yeah. And you enlightened me about, it's not just freestyle, it's Latin freestyle. It's a big distinction with
I learned that.
Yeah.
And the Houston Warwick family, you know, exerting their dominance in the top 10.
I didn't know, are they from Houston?
No, meaning
the Whitney Houston.
You know, the Whitney Houston, sorry.
Yeah.
I
phrased
that oddly, but
right. Well,
auntie and niece,
right,
you know, demonstrating their pipes.
So was it so Dionne Warwick is like
I think she's Missy Houston's sister, I believe.
Really?
His mom's sister,
right.
You know, would be her you know, Hala, I believe.
No, would she be Piari Khala or Khala Johnny? I don't know what that.
Oh no. Yeah, I don't know who's older or what.
There's always a pecking order in every, especially big family.
Right.
All right. Well, that takes through the top 10. So check us out next week for another trip down memory lane with Casey Kasem's Top 40. So both of us take care and stay safe. Until next week.